Once upon a time, in a small town nestled deep in the woods, there was an abandoned mansion known to be haunted. The locals called it the House of Horrors. It was a dilapidated, decaying structure that had been vacant for decades, but rumors abounded about the strange occurrences that took place within its walls. One night, a group of 5 friends, Rachel, Mike, Lily, James, and Sarah, decided to investigate the mansion. They had heard the legends and wanted to see for themselves if the stories were true. They gathered at dusk and made their way through the dense woods until they came upon the ominous-looking mansion. As they approached, they noticed that the mansion seemed to be illuminated by a soft glow emanating from within. Despite their fear, the group ventured inside, drawn by the inexplicable light. The inside was as spooky as the outside. The floors creaked, the walls were peeling, and the air was thick with dust and cobwebs. As they made their way through the dark and foreboding hallways, strange noises echoed all around them. A feeling of dread crept over them, but they continued to explore until they came across an old library filled with books that looked ancient. Sarah, a bookworm, eagerly grabbed a book and began to flip through the pages. As she did, she noticed that the pages were blank. She showed the book to her friends, and they all agreed that it was strange. Suddenly, the door to the library slammed shut behind them, leaving them trapped inside. The friends tried to push the door open, but it wouldn't budge. They were stuck in the library with no way out. They soon realized that the mansion was alive and had trapped them inside. As they searched for a way out, they discovered that the mansion was not empty. The ghosts of the previous occupants, who had died mysteriously, roamed the halls, seeking revenge on anyone who entered their domain. The friends were now trapped in the House of Horrors, with no escape from the malevolent spirits. The group soon realized that they were not alone in the library. A ghostly figure appeared before them, floating above the floor. The figure was that of a woman, with long black hair and a tattered white dress. She was ethereal and terrifying, with eyes that seemed to stare right through them. The woman beckoned the group to follow her, and they reluctantly did, afraid of what would happen if they didn't comply. She led them to a hidden room deep within the mansion, where they discovered an altar with a book on top of it. The book was open, revealing a strange language that none of them could understand. As they looked at the book, the ghostly woman appeared behind them, causing them to jump in fear. She spoke to them, telling them that they had been chosen to fulfill a prophecy that had been foretold centuries ago. The book on the altar was a guide to a ritual that would unleash unimaginable horrors upon the world. The woman warned them that if they did not complete the ritual, they would be trapped in the mansion forever. The group, afraid of what would happen if they didn't comply, reluctantly agreed to perform the ritual. They gathered the necessary ingredients, including human blood, bones, and hair. They performed the ritual, not fully understanding what they were doing, and the mansion began to shake violently. The friends felt as if they were being sucked into another dimension. When the shaking stopped, they found themselves back in the library, with the book now closed and locked away in a nearby cabinet. They breathed a sigh of relief, thinking that they had narrowly escaped the clutches of the House of Horrors. As they made their way out of the library, they noticed that the mansion was eerily quiet. No more ghostly figures roamed the halls, and the once decaying walls and floors looked new and polished. They cautiously made their way out of the mansion, wondering what had happened. As they stepped outside, they were shocked to find that the once dark and overgrown forest had transformed into a beautiful garden with colorful flowers and chirping birds. The sky was clear, and the sun was shining bright. It was as if they had stepped into a different world altogether. The group looked at each other in disbelief, unsure of what had happened. Had they imagined the horrors of the mansion, or had they truly been transported to another world? They decided to go back to their town and try to forget about the experience. But as the days passed, strange things began to happen to each member of the group. Rachel became paranoid, thinking that someone was always watching her. Mike started hearing strange noises in his home, even though no one else was there. Lily began having nightmares, reliving the horrors of the mansion. James felt as if someone was following him, no matter where he went. And Sarah, the bookworm, became obsessed with finding out more about the strange language in the book. They soon realized that the ritual they had performed had opened a gateway to another dimension, allowing malevolent entities to enter their world. They had unwittingly unleashed an ancient evil that was now consuming them one by one. As they tried to fight the evil, they discovered that the only way to stop it was to perform another ritual, this time to close the gateway. They knew it was risky, but they had no other choice. They gathered the necessary ingredients and went back to the mansion, hoping to end the nightmare once and for all. But when they arrived at the mansion, they found that it had returned to its decaying and haunted state. The ghosts of the previous occupants had returned, and they were angrier than ever before. The friends knew that they had to be careful, or they would not survive. They made their way to the hidden room, where they had performed the first ritual and found the book on the altar once again. But this time, they knew what they had to do. They chanted the words from the book, and the mansion began to shake violently once again. But this time, when the shaking stopped, they found themselves back in their town, with the mansion now a pile of rubble. The evil had been vanquished, but at a great cost. The friends had lost a part of themselves, and they knew they could never forget what had happened to them. Years passed, and the friends went their separate ways, trying to move on from the horror they had experienced. But they never forgot about the House of Horrors and the evil they had unleashed. They knew that it would always be a part of them, a dark memory that they would carry for the rest of their lives.